Hey guys, Scotty the trainer here. Thank you very much for joining me for these next few moments. So how's everybody doing out there again, as I've been asking on this COVID-19? How's your quarantine going? You know, a lot of states have already removed the quarantine. They've already taken it up. Here in our state, they're beginning to phase back in things, restaurants and other industries and things of that nature. And so I think that we look back on this, and this has been quite a time, especially when people have said they've never seen a time like this. My father in his early 80s told me over and over again, every time I had a conversation with him, he'd say, I've never seen anything quite like this. And so this has really been something during this shelter-in-place quarantine, COVID-19. How many people have died? Is it real? Is it a hoax? What's going on? Is the government behind it? Is the Illuminati behind it? Is who's behind it? Is Rick and Morty behind? I mean, all of these things have been going on in the middle of all this. But one thing that I believe is that there's principles that we can definitely learn from and pick out as what has gone on. One thing is, there in the middle of all this, there were people that suffered. Right? One day you're a waiter, you're a waitress, you're working in a busy restaurant, and the next day you're out of work. And so businesses and industries had to either find a way to survive or close their doors and hope and pray they get another shot at making it. A lot of people lost their jobs. So many are on unemployment, and so many more that weren't unable to get unemployment. And so businesses had to begin to adapt in this time. You know, think about this. Businesses and industries that were face to face, either meeting in an office or coming into a person's home, all of a sudden that came to a stop. And so now virtual world opened up, literally a virtual world, virtual meetings. And think about this. So some people lost during this time. But if you were the CEO of a company called Zoom, you went to bed one night and the next day you were worth $3 billion. Zoom did that over this time. They had some issues in the beginning and they adapted quickly. And the business continued to grow. Now, there are a couple of other virtual sites that I could mention, but I won't. They did not adapt to this change, and they did not do the business that Zoom does. Matter of fact, right now, if you ask someone, you say, hey, let's do a virtual meeting, guess what they're going to say they're going to use? The app they're going to use, Zoom. They don't think about all those other ones. Why? Because Zoom made the adaptation. And so as people, we definitely have had to adapt, especially if you were going to a job and now somebody told you, hey, you're not essential. So now you're sitting at home waiting for whatever the next thing is. I have a neighbor that lives here, and he started a business during this time. And I said, so what made you start the business and put it all together? He said, in my current industry, I'm non-essential. So I had to find something that made me essential. So there was ingenuity that came out of all of this. And there's a cautiousness that's come out of all this, because even when the doors are flown open and everybody says, okay, let's go back to life as normal, whatever that is, there's still going to be a group of people that are going to sit back, they're going to watch, they're going to be cautious. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Another thing that I think came about was we realized that people became very judgmental during this time. I mean, let's just take something like the mask. Well, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going to protest by not wearing a mask. And then other people were saying, well, if you don't wear a mask, you don't care. And then it became like mask or no mask. There was no in between, you know. This would have been a day when the Lone Ranger would have been glad to be here, because he was always pro-mask. As a matter of fact, the actor that played the Lone Ranger always wore a mask, even right up to his passing. He wanted to be known as the man with the mask. And it became mask or no mask. Well, if you don't wear a mask, you don't care. And then it became, well, you think you're better than me because you're wearing a mask. And the mask really wasn't the issue. The issue was people became judgmental. If you're not like me, then you're not caring, or you're not loving, or you're not being a part of all of this. I sincerely hope in my heart, I hope with all my might, and I pray that when this is all over and the dust settles, we as people go back to remember that what makes this world so great is not that we're all the same. It is our different viewpoints. It is our different stances. It is our different circumstances. I know a man right now that runs a company, and he has 5 people on his board that he sits down with, and each one of those people come from different viewpoints. So he's a conservative, but he has a couple of people that have democratic mindsets, and he has a couple of people that are independents and libertarians, and he has different mindsets because he says, I don't want a bunch of yes people around me. I need to be challenged. And anything that you believe in and anything that I believe in, if it is worth having it and being convicted by it and living by it, it is worth being challenged. It's important that when we come out of all of this, we don't forget the principles and the lifestyles that many of us touted all the time before this COVID, coronavirus, Wuhan virus, whatever you want to call it, before this all happened. Was there were people that said you have to be loving and you have to be accepting, and everybody doesn't have to look the same or talk the same, but we have to be accepting. And then all of a sudden this quarantine came and people became very, oh no, it's either this way or it's not. You can't have a different opinion. We all need to stop, all of us, stop and take a breath and realize when this is all over with, we're still people. We're still the human race. And we have brothers and sisters out there that we still need to love, even though they don't talk like us, even though they don't look like us. You know, many of you know I speak in different places, businesses, entrepreneurs, all of that. And one of the things is the religious circles and churches. And at one, I passed out a piece of paper, and everyone had a pen there, and probably about 150, 175 people were there, and I said, I want you to write down, and we're going to take a look at these. Don't put your name on it, but just write down and tell me, how is it that we, as people of faith, show the world God is real? How do we do that? And so they wrote down. And I'll share with you some of the things that I heard and I read. We know God is real because our church has the best music. Okay? The world knows God is real because I can pray a prayer for them and God will answer. And that will show them God is real because they asked me to pray, and they'll say, I have contact with God. Okay? And then other people put in there because we shout in our church, or because we have the best preacher, or because of all of these things. When if we stop for a moment and we go back to the words of Jesus, what Jesus said was, and by this shall all men know you are my disciples. Here it is. Not because your church has great music, not because you can shout, not because everybody believes like you, but by your love for one another. Your love. What's in that? Love, acceptance, grace, mercy. I don't want to forget that I have brothers and sisters out there that have gone through a difficult time and have struggled through this, just like so many. When this is all said and done, I don't want to come out of this alienating people. I still want to be the person that can inspire and give hope and love and grace and mercy and endurance and all of those things. Because remember, at the end of the day, what Jesus said, the world knows you and I are his disciples, or disciplined people of faith, because of our love for one another. No, you don't have it all. That's why you need me. But I don't have it all. That's why I need you. Each of us are a piece of the puzzle. But when we all come together, when this is said and done, let's build a puzzle that says to the world, we didn't turn on each other. We didn't destroy each other. We came out of our homes under this quarantine saying, you know what? We're still one race. We're still one people. And we're going forward together. Because we were meant for relationship one with another. Not just by Facebook, not just by Zoom, but we were meant to come together as people. And remember, we're stronger together than we are being separated. Just some thoughts. I'm Scotty the Trainer.